So everybody can relax because there's no more new materials and no more labs. We are done with all our formal classes, right? So today is kind of wrapping up the series a little bit and also talk about final project. That's the idea for today. Um, yep. So yeah, exactly. No homework this week. And that's it. We are done with homeworks except for the final project, right? And that's what we are going to discuss. So let me see. I think we have most people here. Um, let's quickly do a review of the exercise, right? And I want to make sure, if you have any question, and last week exercise was pretty straightforward, I think, right? Because answers are pretty much, right there. But I want to kind of, take a few minutes to wrap up any recommendations, related questions. So go ahead and ask any questions, guys, on the last week's project. I think you guys pretty much have the solution already, right? Any questions or comments? Let me share my screen also. Yep. All right, so no questions from the last week recommendations, yeah? Let me open this up. So that's it. This is the 23rd individual lab, and you have done it. So that's pretty good. See, submissions, very good, guys. So recommendations, as I said, is pretty easy to do a, how do you say, a fairly decent one, right? And then, I remember I showed you the Netflix example, right? And then it gets significantly harder to optimize and improve upon the standard one, right? So that's basically how recommendations work. And for the most part, excuse me, right? Straightforward recommendations, and as you can see, right, and the libraries available, like we used which library, right? That's pretty straightforward. All right, guys. Any questions on the recommendations? Right. So I want to wrap that up before we go to the next step. Okay. So I want to say congratulations, right? Because I've stuck around for 16 weeks. So that's no small feat. So what I want to talk about in this class is, right, we are no longer covering any more materials, right? We are done with all that. I want to get some feedback from you guys, and some of you already gave a feedback, and then I'll sort of talk through the feedback a little bit. All right. So here's a feedback link. It's also in the welcome document. I'll put this in the Zoom as well. Final course feedback. If you haven't done so, if you've already done it, you're fine. So let's go ahead and take about 2 or 3 minutes, so you guys can give me a quick feedback, and we will go over the feedback and discuss the final projects as well. Okay. All right, guys. So look at the Zoom link. Feedback link is there, right? I have some feedback already. I like to get as many as possible. So let's take a couple of minutes to go through the feedback real quick. All right, guys. So I'll go on mute for 2 minutes. Please look at the feedback. All right, guys. Thank you so much for the feedback. If you're in the middle of completing, go ahead and complete. Just want to go through a few comments we had, and I want to quickly go through that, right? So overall, and again, this is your chance to speak up as well, and please, please speak up because I do want to hear your feedback. We've been at this for almost 4 months now, right? So, and so let me share the results I'm getting, right? And so this way you can see, and you can see, right? We have pretty varied background of people joining us, and that's really great because we had a pretty again the idea was I wanted to appeal to as many people as possible, like the software engineers, right? Data scientists, right? So, all right. So motivation basically is to learn machine learning, and some of you want to make a career change, right? And also want to do more hands-on, right? So, and basically, right? I asked you, were you able to participate? Vast majority were you able to participate. And sometime you were not able to participate because things like right, you're in a different time zone. It's just not right, or the middle of the night for you, or work, right? So something like this. So that's fine. Again, is there something we can do better here, guys? I want to hear your thoughts on this. So please feel free to speak. I mean, give me some ideas. I mean, we have people joining pretty much from all around the time zone. So what can we do here? Right? Any suggestions? What do you guys think? Do we have Vasilios here?
I
know I can always count on you.
Say this week I was very ill this week. My head, my throat, and my stomach was in pain.
Ooh, okay.
So,
hope you're
feeling.
I
didn't work. I didn't do any studies. I was just lying down, with headaches. But anyway,
hope you feel better.
That's my
personal, yes, go on, please. Yeah.
What I could see is actually, first of all, the attempt to work teams somehow didn't work for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Many people were thinking they can do it, but somehow they stopped in the next hour, not in the next day of attempting to work in teams. So I don't know. I'm afraid, maybe whatever.
Should
that is be something compulsory? Should that be?
Yeah. That's something I want to get your idea on, because I tried a few times to get you guys join in teams, but it never worked out. And I said I didn't want to push it because it's like people live in different time zones. I mean, right? I mean, there are a lot of things, and I want to understand that. So why do you think that is, Vasily? So, and others can chime into why the team thing didn't really work out.
I can easily state that if they were somehow afraid, as I was, for not having enough skills, they would feel embarrassed. But to be honest, I knew I was going to be embarrassed by not knowing anything about this. So I wasn't feeling embarrassed. I was prepared for that. But there was nobody else to make me feel embarrassed.
Okay. No, actually, I mean, right? I mean, yeah, that's a valid point. You can say, oh, maybe, what if everybody knows everything and, I'm, and I'm the last one in the team, right? Yeah, okay. No, that's a very valid point. I get that. Anybody, I mean, Vasily, also anybody else, kind of,
Anything else? The other thing is sometimes I really wanted to work and make results, but having no clue of how you do things. Even, for example, the first weeks, I remember the location and the index location thing. For me, it was something like out of my comfort zone. I tried so much to do a meaningful outcome out of all these things, and I was failing. So imagine if you have something like this, or the last example I had with the PCA, and I received an example on the screen which was giving you two outcome variables instead of one. I wasted so many hours trying to make it work, and somehow I didn't have enough time to complete my thing. So I think better working examples, would be nice as an advice for the training, because I just
Gotcha.
wasted,
Yeah.
remember, 3 days and nights, trying to find out what's
Yeah.
wrong with me, and then I realized that everybody else is doing it differently.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's true because and when I started this thing, right, and the way you guys see the guide, there's so much material out there for machine learning. That's a good news and that's a bad news, right? Because anybody can write a blog. Now, whether the blog makes sense, is the code accurate? And this is what I try really hard to, because I try to give you guys the blogs I used, right? So, I kind of went through them and, right? Because this is, and this is a bit of an exercise too, because, sometimes those blogs don't exist anymore, right? I had to go find new ones, things like this. I'll tell you this, only example, you guys can see my screen, right? I was doing something and, something like, like this, right? I forgot what the thing was. This like was like, something like, like ABC, something like this. And this is TensorFlow. And I was getting to really obscure error saying, the data is not in valid format or something. I was like, what? And I was like, this is the most straightforward thing, right? And I Googled around for 2-3 hours. I just couldn't find the answer. Then I saw somebody's working example. The only difference was there was a double bracket, right? That's it. And my code started working right away. So you can imagine, right? I probably spent like 3 hours googling around and very frustrated. And the difference was just I was just missing double bracket. And it's like such a small thing, you don't even think to like double check, right? Anywho, so yeah, I understand the frustrations. Honestly, I chalk it up to sometimes you end up wasting time on trivial stuff. That doesn't really, what I mean? Like, and I will never forget this now, because now I spent 3 hours learning this lesson. But was it the best use of my 3 hours? No, absolutely not, right? Anyway, yeah, but I do get your point, because there are a lot of code examples people have their older version, they don't work anymore, things like this. So my job when I give you guys this what am I saying? The references, as accurate as possible, right? So that's the point well taken. Yeah, good. So so talking about the engagement, right? And this is also something I tried. I see the comment from David. I was trying to get you guys to present each week as well, and it was not successful either. For some reason, people who didn't feel comfortable, people are shy, and that's exactly why I wanted you guys to present, because I wanted to you guys to learn the presentation skills a little bit, right? Saying hey, this is what I tried, and we all know, right? Sitting down and writing code is one skill. Explaining it to others is another skill. But again, that honestly did not work out. So the presentation again, I mean, again, like I said, you guys can tell me why presentation also, didn't work out, right? Or I should say team or individual presentation. All right. So yeah. But again, like I said, I don't want to push it. I don't want to kind of, right? Again, this is my first program too, right? So I kind of wanted to make sure, go with what worked. Yeah, maybe in the next batch, we will be a little bit more organized, and we'll say, yeah, you had to find a partner, you had to present as a team. So establish that upfront, so this way, it's not optional anymore. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So, yeah. Any thoughts on this? Again, it's an open discussion, right? Please, don't, I want to hear from everybody, right? So, either type it in the chat window or speak up. Right. This is, you are giving me feedback, right? So. Alan, Cynthia, please, go ahead and chime in. Again, I do want to hear from everybody. Please, either in the chat window or, or in the, or speak up, please. Yeah.
You know what? I think what Vasilios had said earlier pretty much summarized it. I mean, I stated that we need some worked Python examples of what's done, because sometimes I'm sitting here. I mean, I could look through the documentation or I could look through other examples, but I mean, I think we spoke before that some of these don't work. These are off-dated codes. But the thing is, when I'm starting out, I found it hard to like. I found it hard to like to create or concoct a valid code for my project. And I need better template examples, something that is that is more Python based, which is more relevant and contemporary.
Yep. And this is something, yeah, that's a Thank you. That's a very great valid point. And this is kind of what I sort of started doing towards the end. I don't know if you guys let me see. Like look at PCA1, right?
Mhm.
So actually, let me put the actual right. So we look at the PCA1. Kind of what I started doing is like, I started giving you guys some of the basic templates to say, okay, hey, this is a starting point, and kind of go from there, because that'll at least get you started. Because a lot of the time people, you give them a blank notebook, people are like, okay, like what's my first line of code, right? It's kind of like very intimidating, right? Yeah, so that is well taken. So what I would do in the future is kind of have like some starter notebooks for every exercise and say, okay, here's the data. Okay, now you can start going. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that'll help. Yeah. And also I want to make it in a format like, so, I mean, PCA is like, honestly, I kind of want to do, it's a little more than, how do you say, it's pretty well completed out, right? And I kind of want you guys to do some a little extra as well. So what I will do is I'll kind of take out some of the obvious ones and and put them as to-do items here, right? Just so we can. I should be. I do want you to write code, right? Not just kind of execute the code and say, oh yeah, that makes sense, right? So yeah, but yeah. So in the end, that's a very good point. So what I would do is provide better, kind of start a templates. So you have something to get going, right? Not just completely blank. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Very good, guys. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Very good, guys. Yep. What else? Let's see, David. Okay. Yep. Right. So the presentation again, this is something I need to figure out what's the best option is, right? Because I honestly think that's a very good skill to have, like being able to explain your notebook to others, and also being able to take criticism, right? If somebody says, "Oh no, that's not a really good way of doing it," should have a thick skin to take criticism, and and it's not easy. So it takes a little, and that's why. And so I will say, let me think on this, and I thank you for your feedback. I kind of want to make the teams and the presentations work as well in the next batch. Good, guys, very good. So again, please, I definitely want to hear from all of you. So please, type it in, right? Any feedback, okay? All right. So let's look at the comments here again. Participation, right? So let's talk about participation. Basically, right? Is there anything that we could do to make attending, like this program easier? Like, like overall, what do you guys think? Because I know, like, we have quite a few people, from across all time zones, right? So what would make this a little easier for you to participate? And then, so I have, I know I forgot his name, but I mean, I know he's in India. He joins sometimes. I don't know if you have you here today. Yeah. Right. So time zone, there's not a whole lot. So I thought this Saturday 11 o'clock. I kind of thought this might work for a lot of people. What do you guys think? Is this a time we can change? Right.
I think for me,
Yeah. Go on.
Time now, it is 7 in the afternoon in London.
7 p.m. Saturday, right? Yeah.
I think it's a good time.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it works for UK time
It
zone.
is a good time because you can do whatever you need to do early in the morning and then be there for the lesson. So I don't know for everybody else around the world.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I
How's
like
everyone?
Because I'm in LA, so it's convenient.
Yeah, I'm on West Coast too, so I mean 11 o'clock is perfect because I don't have to wake up too early. So, right, and so yeah, that works. And so and every batch is going to be different, and I'll try, but I'll try to sort of keep it around this time. Some people ask me if I can do it like during the weekday. I chose not to do it because weekdays are kind of always stressful, right? Because you're in the work, work things going on, kids in school. There's always something on a weekday. So I kind of want to keep it on a weekend, so at least things are a little less stressful. Yeah, good guys. Okay, so next one I said, okay, look, were you guys able to kind of get where you wanted to go, and especially it's pretty solid 4s and 5s, so I'm pretty happy about that, right? Because the goal is, remember, this is a kind of completely volunteer program, and you are here, you are spending your time, so I want to make sure your time is well spent. All right. So, all right. So how the program helped? So you just like the exercises, lectures, right? And basically, it's kind of focused learning, right? And that's exactly what I want to do, right? Because if you go type machine learning in Google or YouTube, there's like millions of links, right? How do you kind of structure the program? So that's basically how. Basically, if you look at the guide is basically just structure the right. So if you look at the there's my GitHub, right. So it's basically right. It's a structured learning, right? We're kind of walking you through. Okay, learn this, right? And like for example, if okay, I want to go learn SVM, you can go learn SVM, right? There are tons of right? There are tons of articles and links. It's just like putting an order to the whole whole madness, and they can learn this first, and then so on and so forth. So hopefully that was useful. I'm hoping, right? So that's what I really set out to do here, right? Kind of come up with a blueprint for a learning path, right? So, all right, guys, very good. Good. So overall, right? So I mean, basically, like I said, program was really helpful. Okay. Tools. So this is a bit of a learning curve for me too, right? Because I think eventually we found what worked for us, but initially we tried a lot of tools, and that maybe may have turned off a few people. At least I feel, right? Because I'll get emails saying I can log into Google Classroom, I can join Google News, Google Group, I can join this, I mean, there's like a lot of people having trouble. So is there anything? I mean, again, you guys stuck around, right? So you guys kind of figured it out. What are the essential tools? And again, I'll give you my opinion. I like your feedback. I think basically Zoom and basically Google Classrooms and I mean, yeah, right. These are the final thing we kind of worked around, right? Is there anything we can do better here, guys? All right. I mean, and eventually I even dropped Google News groups because I don't think not many people are active there, so I just pretty much stuck to Slack. Is that what do you guys think? Is that a good approach there? How we can use better tools?
I think so. Yes, I think I like Slack.
I think so too. Yeah, it's much more interactive, right? Kind of people are used to it. You have to know for your work or something, and you can discuss on your own. Yeah. Okay. So should we even bother with Google Groups? I'm kind of like right. How many of you use Google Groups? I mean, do you just post there, read my postings? I mean, I don't even know if anybody used it.
No, I don't use Google Groups.
Okay. Okay. So any other feedback on this one, guys? And the tools we can use. So I think I may just stick to the these guys for now. Right. Right, exactly, and I remember like I remember clearly first couple of lessons we're kind of getting people. And also another thing that really kind of worked against us was we advertise on Eventbrite, we publish on Eventbrite, and then we were kind of we were testing an integration between Eventbrite and Zoom, and for reasons that didn't really work well. So the idea is you sign up on Eventbrite, and you should get a welcome email with all the stuff like the Zoom link and everything. And for some people, it never worked. Some people it worked. So we were kind of, we were trying to, and it was too late for us to troubleshoot because it was already public. So, but now we figured it out, right? Now, we know what the issue was and we fixed it. So hopefully now you go to Eventbrite and register, you'll get like a one welcome email with all the links, right? And then, that should alleviate. Okay, good. So tools, okay, I think we even though we stumbled a little bit in the start, I think we kind of, kind of found that work for us. Anything else on the tools, guys? And again, I do want to hear from you guys. Any feedback? Okay, moving on. Grading materials, right? So these are the slides I was sending you guys. Sorry, not the slides plus the right, plus the guide, right? So for the most part, right, most of you are pretty happy with these, so that's very good. Okay, so how can we improve, right? So again, sometimes it can be one of the feedback I get what was just too much, right? Like there are too many, like for example, right? Well, let's say you want to do cross validation, right? It's basically like just too much. It's true. Sometimes it can be, but I always kind of try to say, okay, I want to give you guys a few examples, not just one example, because what if the blog goes away, right? For some reason the blog is down, right? Then you have no reading material. So I like to give you guys like a few, and the idea is like do as many as you want. You don't have to go through all of them, right? Kind of do like maybe at least a couple. Like for example, PCA, right? I just published PCA, so they're like a bunch of videos, right? Those are really good. So I'll say, what, definitely watch those, right? Yeah, so this will evolve, right? And as I find more interesting content, I'll add that. I'll remove some of these. Yeah, right. So okay, yeah, that point is well taken. So that pretty much, you guys are like, yeah, I know they are, right? Right. So yeah, I will mark it as must read and additional reading, right? So that's kind of started doing something. Where was that? Right. So like, for example, sometimes people want to say, I want to understand the math a little better, right? So, but even though you don't need it, I sort of put them as, I give them the link because, there's, if you have some time and if you're curious, it's good to know. So I started doing the extra reading part as well, right? So that's good. That's a good guideline. All right, labs, right? Pretty much, you guys, pretty much like the lab pretty well. So, yeah, go on, Wesley. Yes, yeah.
Would that be? I don't know if we had one or on the data cleaning and data transformation. Probably, it's one of the greatest, time-consuming.
That's true. Did I have this one? Feature engineering. Oh, let me see. Yeah, go on. Yeah, keep going.
I don't know if we had enough for focus because imagine we have, say, generic numbers and text, but also we have, say, date.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I don't think I
really
Yeah.
fail.
Actually, what I have to make this data cleansing a little bit here. Yeah. So actually, I have a section. Yeah, kind of have. I just want to like a bit of a data cleansing, right? Maybe we should add more to this, right? But yeah, this is important. You're right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So would you like to see more on the side of data cleansing? Is that the idea?
I could say not just cleansing, but also transformation.
Right.
So there are dates in one thing, but some of them are missing.
Yep.
Or format.
Yep.
Or they are mixed. So what are you doing?
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, actually, and yeah, this is something I also encountered. Yeah, so I definitely I'll add some more here. Yeah, very good. All right, guys. So please don't be shy. Right, give me your comments on the chat window either way. Right. So, all right, labs for the most part. Yep, we're pretty happy with. So yeah, so again, labs. I want to put some structure behind labs. Like I said, I'll put some basic starting code so everyone can kind of get going. And that's something I really wanted to do, but I honestly didn't have time much to kind of put the starting template. But going forward, I will add the labs. Yeah. Okay. Good. Workload. So right. Sorry, was that a question? Sorry, comment. Please go ahead. Yeah. All right. So workload, right? So again, this is a bit of a give and take. I wanted to keep you guys engaged, right? But at the same time, I don't want to, I don't want to like drag this class for because we have like a set end date, right? We don't want to just take it too slow, then people kind of fall off. So for the most part, right, you guys said, yeah, that was, it was just right. So that's good to hear. But I understand, right? Some weeks you're going to be busy. Some weeks, you don't have some time, right? It's the ups and downs, and that's why we took some break weeks, just so everyone can kind of catch up and catch your breath. How is this one? Is there anything we can do differently? I want to kind of get your feedback here because this is kind of very important to you guys. So the workload, readings and assignments.
As you stated also, Suji, if the lessons are based, on a set, say 1, 2, 3 templated say exercises, and another say free form with whatever everybody else would like to do. At least you know that templates, we deliver specific skills to some people. They really have to go through that, say mandatory, and then say on the free form or whatever else, you can go and do another experiment based on this, choosing from here or wherever.
Right. No, that's a very valid point. And thank you for bringing this up, because the template will give you structure, but it's kind of like, like it's like you're going hiking and you kind of follow the trail, marked trail, right? You don't stray from the trail. So yeah, this is good. I mean, yeah, that's a good thing I need to kind of think about and say, I want to get you guys started, but I don't want to kind of constrain you to like one, you know what I mean? Like one path. Because, part of machine learning is like, going and exploring different things. If I do like a step by, like if I give you like 10 steps to each lab, then that's what everyone's going to do. Yeah, so that's a good point too. And, structured was more open-ended. It's always a compromise. And I like to hear, other opinions too, how we can do this. Yeah, anyway, so I'm open to it, right? So I want to kind of see if I can find a balance, like not too prescriptive, but at least get you guys started, then give you some freedom to experiment. Yeah, good, yeah. All right, very good. And these are things I want to know, right? Because you are going through it, right? And I definitely want to. And so for the workload,
in the template, would be nice to have, say, you do this step in order to achieve this because you're gonna need it on the stage X when you need that.
Yeah.
So you are building your understanding through the steps, and you just say you have to do that because you're gonna need it when you need to do this, or when you need to ask this, or you need to answer this. That gives you a little bit of structured learning.
Yeah. Structure, but also give you ideas to experiment on your own. Yeah, that's really what I really want to achieve. Yeah. Very good. All right, guys. Again, okay. So let's moving on. Weekly review sessions. Most of you really liked it, so that's good. And yeah, because this is when we all come together and ask questions, answer questions, all that, right? So how can we improve, right? So basically, I made a point to give you guys links to mostly free books, right? But basically, you guys are saying, you're maybe okay to buy, Amazon or like O'Reilly books, right? So that's good too, because there are some books that I really use. I didn't kind of add to it because I was like, okay, this is a paid book, right? Maybe I don't want to add to the program, but I think maybe I will add to that, right? And then the choice is yours. I use O'Reilly books because it's like a monthly subscription. You can pretty much read any book they have, right? Which is pretty good. So I'll add them, right? So this way, the choice is still yours, right? You can either choose to buy it or you stick with the free ones. Yeah. Is there? So this is a weekly session. So any other ideas we can do here, guys? Any? Right? Right. So yeah. So the team assignment thing, right? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So very good. So overall, how do you rate the program? So 4 stars and 5 stars. So that's pretty good. Overall feedback, right? Basically, yeah, right. So collaboration, reading materials. Again, like I said, this is an experiment. We tried early on. It didn't really work out. So let me see how we can do separately, right? So again, right. So so yeah, right. So if you're kind of doing the meetups, and that's another thing, right? So another question I had was like, can you do like a meetup or specific? It'll be. I kind of want to funnel everybody through this program, right? It doesn't matter where you join from. I join Eventbrite or Meetup. Either way, you end up with the same program. So this way, everybody kind of follows the same track, right? Yeah. So very good, right? So there seems to be like a lot of interest in presenting. So we'll talk about this, right? Maybe this we can still achieve this in the final project. Yeah. So overall, it's great feedback, guys. So that's good. So what can we improve? All right. This is the most greatest advice I gather. Like, you have to be consistent. Just, even if you're falling behind, even if you didn't complete the assignment, just keep showing up, right? Stay with the program. Because if you say, oh, I didn't complete the assignment this week, so I'll skip this week, you're always going to be behind, right? So, okay. So again, more ebooks, right? Definitely, right? So again, these are kind of, more interesting, like, more deep learning, and this could be future tracks we can use. Yeah. So yeah, so overall, really good feedback. So thank you for this. Thank you for completing this. Any other free-form comments, right? Overall, kind of what personally worked for you, personally did not work for you, either way, right? Just feel free to be open. This is a friendly zone. Any other?
I fell off the wagon a couple of months ago because I got intimidated by the reading for one of them, and I couldn't really find the answers, like the information necessary to complete the assignment from that reading. So that's where I got stuck. But before that, it was pretty good. Like I was able to find what information I needed by Googling around. So I think I just hit a plateau like at some point.
Right.
So I think the readings were more targeted and had the information necessary to complete the assignments. That would be good. I don't know if that was on purpose that you did that, that to encourage people to go like and Google for the information. But yeah, other than that, like I really enjoyed everything.
Very good. Yeah, thank you, Rita. So that's interesting because I know some of you did machine learning in school, like formally in college. I did some, but mostly, I kind of learned this on my own. So, and as you can imagine, when you learn this on, I'm just Googling around, reading books, reading blogs. And I kind of did like in a lot of the things, and if I look back, a lot of the things I did were like out of order. Like I'll read something and then maybe like 2 weeks later I'll read like a blog and I'm like, now I understand this. You know what I mean? Like I should have read this, if I read this blog, like 2 weeks before, it would have saved me a lot of time. So that's what I sort of tried to do in the reading material. Like, I want to sort of give you guys like a more structured way of, okay, read this, right? But sometimes, like, you have to read like, and this is true for me, and I'm sure this is true, you found the same thing. You read one article, it doesn't really kind of, stick to your brain, right? So you read like 2 or 3 articles, like different people explain differently. And then your brain kind of, you sort of extract a summary and say, oh, okay, now I think, this is what's going on, right? So that's why even for like a single algorithm, I give you guys, like multiple reading front, because you read a few to kind of, your brain kind of absorb the summary from different ways, right? That's the idea. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of take this, and again, remember this, this guide, I'll keep refining. Like when you say, for example, like if I find some really good, good book or good article, I'll kind of add this, right? And then maybe, take out some of the old ones. Yeah, so this will, I'll keep that in mind as I refine this. But the idea is, like, for example, I was just working on PCA and like the other day. So kind of I only giving you like, okay, understand the concept, understand the algorithm. Yeah, so it's a bit of a reading, and I understand. So and I always say, look, if you don't get through everything, go back, right? And there are still some blogs I go back and read and say, I pick up something I missed on the first time around. Yeah, that's true. So we'll try to be as prescriptive as possible without being, how do you say, but still, I still want to have you guys experiment and kind of explore on your own, right? So I kind of don't want to take that away from you. Like, I don't want to say, okay, this is it. Like, these are the 3 things you have to read, and then you should know everything. Because then that kind of, because, there's always new things happening. People doing new videos, new animations, right? New books. So I kind of don't take that away from you guys either. Right? But yeah, so, but your comment is well taken. I will keep refining this as we go along. Right, so you guys are the first batch. So you guys are my test batch, and you guys did pretty well. Thank you. Right, so I should say, right, you guys really stuck around, and that was pretty good. Any other overall comments, guys? Kind of what if this helped you, personally in any way, right? Any stories you want to share, please go ahead. I would really appreciate that. Right, I get a lot of emails from you guys on a personal basis, and I try to answer as much as I can. But I kind of want to funnel you guys into Slack, because you can help each other out. So did Slack kind of work for you guys in your favor? I'm kind of curious. Were you guys on Slack? Like, did you find that useful? Yeah, please be open. right? Or was it just like, just another tool, you just, only I was posting announcements. What was it like?
Yeah, I haven't used much Slack.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my time is dependent on the classroom or
Yeah,
emails. Email
email.
is my main source of information. So when I get an email, okay, then I look into okay, what is going on and read through that material.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. And also, I mean, and Slack can be a blessing and also a little bit of a write downer because Slack really encourages real-time participation, right? If you're across time zones, sometimes the conversation kind of fizzle out. You post something, right? Before it's going to be a few hours before anybody sees it, and then you write. So yeah, that can happen too. Okay, yep. So good. All right, guys. So overall, I think you and we both did pretty well. So thank you for all your hard work. And so what I did was, right? We look at the welcome page. I opened up all the assignments, right? So if you guys go to the assignment page, there was that, right? All of this should be open because before I was opening one by one, right? So now the top, sort of the top directory is open. So you can sort of, go back and revisit some of your work or look at other people's work. And I would recommend, right? Go ahead and download this whole directory, right? So, it'll zip it up and download it for you guys. Excuse me, because, this is your shared knowledge. Let's say you're doing something and you're stuck on something, you can say, okay, now what did my classmates do? Right? You can go look at it, right? So, so I'm a very strong fan of learning from others. Good. All right. So that is basically the feedback on the class. So anything else we should talk about?
So do we continue to have access to videos, recorded videos?
Right. So that so right now I'm sharing this from your Zoom. What I need to do is I need to move this away from Zoom into like YouTube or something, because in Zoom, we have a limited quota and they will start deleting all videos. So yeah, it's in my to-do list. It's going to take some time, but for now, yeah, use the Zoom, the links on the Zoom, like it's in the same, right? Same recording, but eventually I will update this with the YouTube videos, right? So, then, they'll be permanent. Yeah, it's in my to-do item. Yes, I'll make a note of it just in case I don't forget. Yeah.
And I can tell you, even if you leave them open to everybody, machine learning and deep learning is not something everybody can really understand or grasp it. In the university I'm working, we have all the materials for mathematics, physics, chemistry,
online,
nuclear, online, open to everybody.
Yep.
They just cannot participate, say, to the coursework, but they can read all the materials. As they were saying, if you really feel that you understand all these materials, please join our university. So
that's right. Yeah,
so
yeah. No, that's very true.
That somebody's going to steal it from you and really do the best thing in their life.
Yeah. Exactly. And this, I kind of, my thinking evolved in this one too. Like, you're right, because, and that's kind of gave me an idea for the guide. I'm like, what, I don't want to write my own materials, because, it's like there are so many things that are really high quality materials open out there. You just need, like, to pick the right one. And you're right. I mean, like if you go like MIT and, pretty much all the universities, they have pretty much all the course notes open. Thing is, it's very hard to learn just from the course notes. Right? It's just almost impossible. Even if you look at the lectures, it's right. I know things are opening up. Now we have more access to more content than ever before, but still, and organized learning still, kind of, right? That's how most of us learn, because, that's what we brought up, right? That's our brain work. So that's what this goes about right now. Even though, yes, like for example, I've given you guys most of the content online, but in a structured way, right? So hopefully, yeah, that that's why this is new for me too. So I want to sort of see if this worked, and I think it did, because it did pretty well. I saw your assignment submission; they are very good quality and all that, right? So that's very good. So I'm pretty pleased with, this this approach worked. Good, guys. Any final words before we? I want to keep some time to discuss the project also. So as you can probably guessing, right? There's no homework this week. We are done with all our right? What we set out to do, right? So the last one was recommendation, and last week we did the theory, and we just did the lab, and the lab is pretty straightforward. So, right, so that's it, right? So that basically caps the program. So any final words, comments, complaints, compliments before we move on to the project?
When is the next batch starting?
Great question. So, so I've been getting a lot of emails and saying, is the same batch running again? So it's definitely going to be January sometime, right? Because I want to take some time away. But I think next batch is going to be a little easier because I have the content already kind of pretty much curated. And so I also went through it once, right? So next batch should be pretty straightforward. So I'm targeting January sometime, but also I'm getting a lot of requests for kind of continuing on doing like things like deep learning or like NLP, like TensorFlow, PyTorch, all these new technologies as well. So I'm figuring out, so there are two options, right? If there's enough interest, we can rerun the same batch. And I like to see, again, you don't have to answer this right now, but think about this and send me an email later. If one of you want to run this batch on a weekly basis, right? And I would really love that as well, right? I'm very welcome to open. So you'll pretty much go through the same materials. You will add your own, right? Right? Kind of build on what we have built. So if anybody has an interest in teaching a little bit, running the next batch on a weekly basis, please let me know, right? Because this way I can sort of spread out I can distribute some of these things, right? So that's something I want to float, and I'll send an email to you guys as well if anybody's interested. And one thing I will tell you is yes, you're going to do some work, but thing is this, right? You already gone through the program. So, and already you have all the access to, right? So, the first one, so I put in a lot of effort to create this, guide. So now the guide is pretty much, I would say 80-90% complete, right? We can always improve on this. The labs are pretty much done, right? You have access to all the labs. So the next batch should be fairly straightforward, I think, right? Because content-wise, still, you need to spend some time each week, like an hour plus, on the live sessions. So I'm open to that idea too. So if anybody's kind of say, yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I like teaching, I want to kind of run this batch, please email me, right? We will we can definitely put you to good use. So that's one option. The other one is doing something different. Same structure, but maybe do like a deep learning or natural language processing or image processing, one of those, right? So let me know, right? You can send me an email, discuss on Slack. That's even better. Slack is better because people can actually respond to your ideas, and we'll figure out what next is, right? So, but the timeline was going to be January, definitely January next year, right? Yeah. But we'll decide what we want to do. Yeah. Good question. So please use Slack, right? And then we'll figure out what the next steps are. All right, guys. So also personally, also, I kind of learned a few things because, initially, we were kind of, right. When I first started this, right, because my background is, I like consulting, and I also done a training company. So, but our trainings are very focused, and we do like a 2-3 day trainings, full time. So pretty much everything. Imagine everything you have learned over the course of 4 months. We'll teach them in about a week. But like a 9 to 5, right? Yeah, go on,
Vasilios. Working. Do they really get it, or they just feel that they achieved something?
So it's a very fast-paced. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's very fast-paced. Yep. And they learn a lot of content, and we get pretty good reviews. The thing is, but remember they are like learning. That's it. They block out everything else, right? They are like to learn this. Like 5 days, 9 to 5. This is what they're doing. So and it's a lot of information for them to absorb, but they cannot get most of it. And in a workplace, that's the basic they can do, right? You can run a program that spans 2 months, right? Because they want to kind of get it done and get back to and then and a lot of the time, and if you look, and some of them can write back, and they will say, oh, I'm using SPM for one of the projects, or they will say I'm using naive Bayes for one, right? So they may learn like 15 different algorithms, but maybe they'll end up using 2-3 algorithms for their work, right? Because that's what matters for them. And then right, so yeah, so that's why this format is very, very new, right? Like I never tried this, like this weekly series over the course of 4 months. Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's our business, right? So a lot of the content, labs and content, I sort of I took from our our repository that we develop for for the other trainings. So good. All right, guys. So anything else? Any other questions?
Hey Suzy, this is Dinesh here.
Hey.
Yeah, I would like to add just a couple of points, which I learned not from this one, but from the another program, like that's a 6-week program. So, so what worked for them is like, even that one is a coding first approach, just like you are done for us in this one. So as a part of that one, every week the instructor would be, sharing a notebook. Like for example, let's take SVM. So he'll be sharing a coding first approach based, some program based on SVM, and he would be discussing that thing. And the assignment would be similar to what you have provided, the framework and everything like.
Oh, I see. So discussion before you guys work on the labs, right? Kind of show like a sample project before. Okay, and then you get your own project, kind of very similar to that. Is that kind of right?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Okay, yeah.
And that worked pretty well because even before attempting the assignment, like it has already set the context for us, not in terms of theory, but in terms of coding, right? So it made the work easy for us, in the solving the assignment.
That's right.
That's one thing. And regarding the submission of assignment, what he would be doing, that's a 6-week program, okay? And for the submission of the assignment, he has given 2 weeks, like.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
2 weeks from the class date.
I like that. Yeah.
And that's pretty much rest everything is the same, and the only difference is that's a 6-week program, and this one is a 16-week, right? So this is a bit lengthy compared to that one.
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of funny because when you do this full-time classes, that's how we do. Like I show like a one full example, and then say, all right, guys. So now you're seeing like one example of SVM. Now here's the homework, right? Yeah. And in this one, so I will try to adapt that too. That's pretty good. And I like the 2-week window as well, because it gives you a little bit of a time, right? You're not kind of trying to like 1 week. Yeah, I definitely like this. Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah,
I like that.
Because that's a worldwide program, and almost like 16,000 to 18,000 students have been signed up. But by the end of the course, I think around 3,000 to 4,000 have earned the certificate, and it's free as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. Do you have the name of the program? You can send me a chat message if you like. Yeah, I'll have to check it out as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you the details as well.
Nice. Very good.
And actually, and one other thing is he has given a certificate, like for whatever value it is, like people love to see that something tangible associated with the program.
Gotcha. Yeah, actually, yeah. So let's talk about certificate, right? So so this is something I've been sort of thinking about, and it's up to you guys. If you guys like, we can give you like a completion of course certificate, right? Now how much that is worth. So right, because we're not O'Reilly, we're not Google, right? So but at least this will be something when you want to say, hey, yes, you stuck around for like 4 months, and you accomplished something, right? I'm happy to get a certificate going for you guys. But like I said, I also be realistic and say, this is for your own personal fulfillment, right? It's kind of like I said, I always kind of shy away from doing certificates because like I said,
again
right?
In that case, he has awarded the certificate only when all the assignments and the project is done. So that in a way raise the commitment level of the students, just to see something on
that's good thing. That's good. Yeah, that's actually very good. Yeah. This way, it's kind of a little motivation, right, to complete other assignments, and yeah, very good. That's very good, Dinesh. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good. So how did the time zone work out? Because like if a worldwide program, with that many students.
I don't know. It used to happen on Saturdays, 9 p.m. IST, because I being in India right now. So.
Got Got it. Okay. So okay. So
and obviously there has to be a compromise, like when it is a worldwide
right.
thing.
Gotcha.
Moreover, he has he'll be providing the YouTube links or his the video link on his website, so that people can access it once after the class is done based on that.
Got it. Okay, that's very good. Yeah. And that eventually we kind of want to get to that too. So yeah, very good. So the very good. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much that's it. And rest everything is the same as per our program here.
Gotcha. So thanks, Dinesh. And again, like I said, I really love this feedback because we want to learn from others too, right? So yeah, please send me the link. I mean, if you have the link, you can email me the link or send me a chat message later, right? So I like to look at the format as well. But yeah, I already like kind of some of the things you said. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, good
sure,
guys.
I'll share the details for the email.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Thank you, Dinesh. Very good. All right, guys. So let's see. Yes, let's talk about. So let's come on to the next phase. Projects, right? So you guys have already, so done a lot of machine learning algorithms. You guys have a pretty fairly good idea of, what can be solved in machine learning and, right, what it takes, right, how to improve your algorithms and all that, okay? So how do we kind of end this, right? So, I mean, I kind of want to basically make sure to end this program in a way that, you feel, you feel like a yes, you putting everything you learned for you to use. So the way I look at this program, again, this is just my ideas, right? And I welcome your ideas too. So, pick a data set or a problem, right? So it is, you want to write some code, right? Right. So these are kind of my kind of 3 high-level pointers, right? You pick a problem or data set, and you're going to solve it using machine learning, right? Any algorithm, but it doesn't matter which algorithm. It can be one algorithm or a combination of algorithms, right? And then, but most importantly, I want you guys to write about this. Here's why this is important. I mean, I'm sure you guys, I provided a lot of links from Medium, right, for your reading materials. I noticed when you're going to write about your, a notebook, publishing notebook is one thing. This is your code, right? But explaining your code and explaining your finding, that's that kind of that really forces you to think, am I doing the right thing, right? Kind of also elevates your quality of the code. So it doesn't matter, right? It could be you can write on your GitHub, but like it doesn't have a Medium or something, but you have to write about this, right? And it will force you to actually think about how you're solving this, and also it'll kind of intangibly force you to write better code and better come up with better explanations. I'll tell you from experience, like I have some projects, and then I do it personally. Then let's say, I'm going to write a blog about this. Then I will spend like hours polishing and kind of trying few things because now I'm going to write something about it, and people are going to be reading this. So I want to make sure this is something of worthy of their time, right? So that's why I'm a very big proponent of this, guys. Right? Definitely, write about this. So this is the basic template, and I know this is kind of leaving a lot of things open. So let's talk about this. What are you guys thinking for, like, from a final project perspective, right? Right? Any thoughts, any questions? And we're happy to, we can happy to share, ideas from everybody. What do you guys think? So and also, so just to kind of write and the public GitHub repo, right? So your code will be repo. So it can be like a Medium or GitHub, whatever you guys want. But the idea is kind of, it's public, meaning like, so I mean, even if, like I said, there are so many of these blog posts available, but, yours is going to be, one in billion or one whatever, but it's still yours, right? And you put in time to create it. So this should be something, you should be able to proudly, showcase on your resume. Say, hey, here's a machine learning project I did on my own. Right, so that's the level of quality I really encourage you guys to aim at. Not just solving, like, because a lot of the coding we have done is like very focused, like, do k-means, that's it. I do PCA, I do this, like very focused learning. So now you have to step back and really look at more from a data set perspective, and then say, okay, right? Because nobody's going to tell you use k-means or no use SVM or anything, right? That's your call. But how are you kind of really solving the problem, right? And maybe you can write a result. You can say, yeah, I tried SVM, I only got 90%, but then I use something else. I got 92%, right? And you got, and that's what you're going to write about this. So let's talk about the project, guys. So what are you guys thinking? Ideas, questions? Go ahead, guys. Yeah.
So I think I really wanted to work a little bit on data that are based, say, on text and numbers. Probably try to classify the text to see if there are trends over there, if there are any, hints that something is supporting, working again, say, on the descriptions of COVID, say, patients. You had a lot of, say, features in the data set in a CSV file or whatever it is you can find. But there was also a set of free text. So I really wanted to combine these things and see what really matters from everything that have accumulated. And then I would really like to see if it is a meaningful data set or not, because I don't care just to state if a modeling I have created, makes a good prediction or not, but I want to find out how to classify in cases of quality and purpose a given data set to me. What do I need to do to know that I have a good data set and I can really achieve something? Because even if I get, say, 99% accuracy, how do I really know that my data set is actually a meaningful one and it fits for purpose? So that's the kind of question I have.
Good question, and kind of complex question as well, right? So let's talk. Okay, so I'll kind of give you some pointers, and hopefully that'll kind of give you some thinking, like lines to think. So when you choose a data set, choose one with the real world data, right? So kind of right. So definitely kind of so like don't choose like this artificial like iris and all this, right? Because those are like examples. So try to choose like real world data as much as possible, right? Like you can use Kaggle, things like this, right? Now the question is like how meaningful the data is. That is very subjective, right? Because a lot of the data you will find, any meaningful data you're going to find is going to be very domain specific, right? So for example, again, I don't know anything about COVID. So let's say you get some COVID data, but let's say in the data set is missing some very important column, which you'll only know if if you're like a like a virologist or something. Say, hey, you can say, oh look, this data is meaningless because they are missing this very important measurement. Now I wouldn't know that because I don't know anything about viruses or or medicine, right? So at this point, you are kind of you want to need domain expertise. Like for example, I have no way of evaluating if a COVID data is good data set or not, because I just don't have the background. I have no idea how to evaluate a banking data set, right? Because like again, I don't work in finance.
To give you an example, there was a gnomaticist, whatever they call it, whatever the doctors are writing, free text. There was another set of another 78 features. About dates, places, whatever you like to call it. I tried to make a mixture out of the free text and say the features, and trying to find out which actual, meaningful data are giving me a person that can be hospitalized to prevent the life loss or not. And to be honest, I got a set of, say, the most significant, I could say, features and words that was including the person was hospitalized with pneumonia and, high fever.
Yeah.
Well, yes, thank you. I can see that. I was just trying to find out if from everything else they were writing, if there is another hidden, I could say, feature that makes feel more confident about my analysis. Because somebody who's hospitalized with pneumonia, I think, yes, I can understand that. I don't need to talk to a doctor to say, look what I found, you know.
Right. Yeah, I understand your dilemma. And again, like I said, it's not it's a tough problem to handle. Right? So all I'm doing right now is I can give you some lines of thinking, right? And here's another line you want to think about. Sometimes you need to join, right? With the other data sets to have meaningful signal. Okay, what do I mean by that? So let's talk about your COVID example. Right? Again, this is kind of a made-up example, but hopefully you can follow along, right? So let's say infection rate in London is very high. I know you right, in UK, London very high. But let's say I don't know, like some let's say some rural town is not very high. So now maybe you want to maybe join this with another data set, like population density. How many people live in kilometer squared, right? And in London is obviously much more densely populated than some right. So for example, a farming town in York, right? So, but that may not be part of your COVID data. This is something you had to obtain from like a some sort of a public census data or something like that, right? So a lot of the time, when you deal with real world data, you will find the data is, even though as good as it is, to extract meaningful signals, you may have to enhance the data or join with other data sets to kind of really have a really powerful data set. So think about this, right? So when you guys look at a data set and look and say, okay, here's what I have. Is there any other data set I can add to this that will really give me some extra signals? Think about that, right? I just use the population density as an example, right? Because like COVID, for example, it spreads. You guys know, right? When a lot of people are living in like flats and like right very dense buildings, spreads very easily, right? But when you live in a countryside, you're living in a home on your own, infection rate may be very low. So think about this, right? When you select your data set, see what else I need, I can add to make this data more, more meaningful and more powerful. So again, I don't have the answer, but I'm only giving you sort of the question you should ask yourself to say, okay, right? So and this, trust me, this will help you. Yeah.
So you give me an idea of enriching your data. Like for example, if I have say the date and place.
Yep.
And if I had I could say the ability.
Yeah.
I could just read some weather data like temperature, humidity.
Yep.
But I don't know how achievable it is.
All right. Yeah. Like for example,
So I would just think on top of whatever say the doctors and the hospitals have given me.
Yep.
From what data they collect, because this is what they do, and they are looking at the humidifier to see if it is on or off.
Yeah. So for example, if we are like looking at COVID data across the world, right? So for example, COVID data across the world, the temperature in Florida is much warmer than temperature in London, right? Does it matter? Maybe not, right? Only you can only find out when you kind of enhance the data and then kind of and try to say if that signal makes a big impact. Yeah. So try this out. Yeah, I know you've been looking at the data set for a while, right? Yeah. So these are some of the things you can enhance your data.
So this needs extra time for me, say, to do something like this. It's not something I don't know. I have to find out, because even if I find data, then I have to find out how to transform, to extract, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's quite a project, to be honest.
It is, yeah, right? Okay. So here's the thing, right? And I'll tell you this. Let's talk about timeline, because you brought up a good thing. So I told you guys last week, like when we interview people, like we look at some especially like when you're hiring, like people making the switch. Let's say they will say, and I'm a database engineer. Now I'm interviewing for like a machine learning engineer role. So basically, you haven't done anything at work that in machine learning, but how have you been learning? So people who have, I really hired like about, I would say about 5 or 6 people in this line. They will come and present their own projects, right? And this is what they solved. And we'll, imagine interview process, we'll like, okay, how did you solve this? What algorithm did you use? And, write all this. And they were able to talk about this very comfortably because why? They actually done a meaningful project. Not like something that they spend 15 minutes, right? It's probably something they spend maybe, a month or two working, right? Very significant project. So let's talk about timeline here, right? So timeline, again, for this, I would like to give you guys about 4 weeks, right? Just to kind of, the idea is, you take some time off. I think I've been following week to week. So, catch your breath a little bit. But, I want this to be, a good significant project that we can discuss maybe, in about 4 weeks. That basically puts us in January next year, right? And also gives you time to kind of, attempt something a little bigger, right? So definitely 4+ weeks. And again, you guys can be, and again, right? You can tell me, okay, how long is appropriate, right? I think 4 weeks should be about right. But given the holidays coming up, maybe we can add another week or so just to kind of compensate for that. Is that going to make sense, right? So this should give you an idea of how much effort it goes in to do a meaningful project. What do you guys think? Is that like a good timeline? Give me your opinions.
Yeah. Maybe early January.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And also, right, I mean, so kind of just to make it clear, right? I mean, this is not something you're submitting to me, right? This is basically you are, right? This is something you're going to showcase on your resume. Think of it that way, right? Something you're going to showcase in your resume, right? So I'm not going to be there like, telling you like, oh, hey, this is right, this is wrong. Like at this point, you guys are doing this for your own, kind of own recognition, right? So think of it that way, right? So I don't know if any of you have like an active blog or something. Imagine even if you don't have it, imagine you're going to write your first blog or first post about this. So it has to be really good quality, right? When people come and say, this person has done really some good work, right? Another thing you can do like break it into parts. So let's say you say, hey, there are a lot of things I want to do, but in 4 weeks I can only do like part 1. So publish that, right? And then you say, all right, hey, stay tuned for part 2, 3, whatever, right? So this way it gives you a little sense of, you're not like really taking on an entire thing in one shot, but still gives you more to aim for. See what I'm saying, right? You can say, yes, hey, I need to go complete part 2, right? So do you guys want to do as a group? That's honestly up to you guys, right? So that we can talk about this. I'm, like I said, this is completely your call, group or individual. If it's a group project, I think that can be pretty good too, right? But imagine if it's a group project, the project has to be hefty enough to warrant like 2 or 3 people involvement. You know what I mean, right? You don't want to take the one project that one person can do and then divide into 4 people. Then it kind of dilutes the project. So if it's a group project, that's great. And if you guys want to brand together, that's completely up to you guys how you want to do this. But make sure the project is big enough for all of us. See what I'm saying, right? Yeah. So yeah, I'm completely open. Again, like I said, at this point, I'm more of a how do you say, kind of a just more of a guide, right? So and this is like you guys can make the decisions. Anything else, guys? Anything else kind of in the final project? I know you guys have been thinking about this for a while. What else we should think about?
Susie, maybe if you can share us links of like the end-to-end project, so that a couple of good links, so that that serve as reference for us, how to start the project.
Sure. Actually, I was gonna post these links, but I'll send an email later. So links. So what I was basically doing is like kind of learning, searching like search for. Come on. So search for, and this is something I'm just going to give you right now because you don't have to wait for me. Machine learning. It's called Capstone Projects, right? So these are called basically kind of most little heavyweight projects. So do a search, and there are a lot of links and ideas. Some of them I read, and they're like so. Some of them are good. So you need to kind of read a few to get a sense of it. Because remember, I want you to do something, if possible, in your own domain. So let's say you work in healthcare or you work in, say, finance or whatever, right? Try to find something along the line, because here's why. That'll really increase, make you very attractive for employers, right? So rather than doing like like it's something outside your domain, try to find something in your own domain. Because then next time you go to interview, you can say, oh yeah, remember I did this project, this, and you can talk about this and all that, right? So that's something I recommend. So I'll put this right here. Try to pick something in your domain, if possible. Right, and then do some search like machine learning capstone project, and kind of see what other people have done, right? Go ahead, guys. Anything else? Yeah. So again, it's a free form discussion, right? So please, let me know your thoughts. What else? Sorry, Cynthia, were you trying to say something? I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, not right now.
Gotcha. Yeah. Good, guys. So these are some of the high level kind of, again, like I said, more like pointers, right? So you're free to choose a project. What else do you guys think will make it? So sometimes when I say this, kind of put yourself in a position of like on the other side, right? Let's say you're going for an interview. Now imagine you are on the other side interviewing yourself, right? So what would it take to impress an interviewer? Say, oh wow, that's a cool project. You know what I mean? So that'll kind of help you set some goals and right, some things you want to achieve too, right? You want to kind of so you want this to be impressive enough, but at the same time, I mean, look, I mean, we understand you're doing this part time, right, on your own time, right? So nobody's right, nobody's kind of expecting like a Uber, Google level machine learning projects, but but at this point, we still want to kind of see a significant project, right? Yep. So group thing, Vijay, like if you want to kind of coordinate on Slack or something in a form a group, by all means, right? Yeah, you guys can figure it out. My recommendation, like stick to somebody in your same time zone. It just makes collaboration a little easier, right? If possible. I don't know if that's always possible, but same time zone makes it a little easier because right, work and family and everything. It just makes it a little easier to schedule meetings. Okay. All right, guys. Anything else? So this is the final thing, right? So we are done with sort of a weekly schedule. So that this is the last one for a while. But let's kind of coordinate on Slack or email, right? I prefer Slack, this way everyone can kind of chime in, right? And then we'll set a time sometime in January to maybe do like a early January to like a quick check-in to see how's everyone doing, right? And then maybe end of January to maybe do like a do you guys want to do like a presentation? So let me bring this up. So do you guys do like a final like a group project presentation? So up to you, right? If you guys want to do it, I'm happy to accommodate this, and we can do like a session, right? Maybe each group can do like a 15-minute presentation. And I honestly think it's a good thing, a good skill to have. It'll kind of prep you, like if you want to go for an interview, right? If you want to, right, present to somebody. I think it's a good. So you have a pretty friendly group here you can work on, right? So, right, again, your choice. I would really like to see it, but like I said, I'm not going to force the issue, right? So, good, guys. What else? So, no homework as of today. So we are in a sigh of relief. But please start thinking about doing some research on your final project, right? Because right, kind of just saying what I want to do. Kind of these are some of the pointers you can think along the lines. So basic idea is, right, remember you need to write your code, as you need to have like a post. Could be a blog, could be a GitHub article, whatever, right? Doesn't matter. Yeah. So that's the basic requirement. And let's aim for like about 4 to 6 weeks, right? So kind of just accommodate the holidays as well. Right? Individual project is okay, group project is okay, either way you can. And if you can, I would really love to have you guys present to the group. Yeah. That's it, guys. Anything else? so I think we're pretty good. Like I mean, I think it's a perfect time to like almost mid-December we're ending this, so you can take some time away for holidays, and then get some downtime, and you can work on your projects, and we will yeah, January we'll meet up and see where we are. But like the formal class, so to speak, is done as of today, right? So no more Saturday meetings, right? Next week or the next few weeks, we will figure out the time to do another meeting if you guys want. Yeah, I will post the link to this recording. Yep. So that's it, guys. Anything else? Otherwise, we'll say our goodbyes. Again, I really want to thank you guys, right, for really kind of right working through this project. I know like I said, this is the first batch, so we have a lot of things we had to kind of do trial and error wise. So I appreciate your patience and really thank you for submitting your work, right? And then because I hope I sort of kept you guys motivated enough so you can follow along. And I honestly hope this was actually meaningful to your skill set, right? You learned something, or at least you actually have. Looking forward to maybe learning something on your own, right? So with that, I'll say thank you. But I'm still on Slack, so ping me, email me if you need any help. I'm happy to hear from you guys anytime.
I left as a bonus in the chat today what course I was doing for the theory behind machine learning. Really hundreds of hours courses. Whoever likes to join it, so they can understand what the theory behind all this practice.
Yep. Is it so I see your link you posted, Vasily. So is it like a very very solid hardcore sort of math stats, like very theory coverage? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's good actually. Yeah. Maybe we should.
It is explaining the theory. It means it has a few quizzes, very I could say short quizzes. It tries to give you the explanation why the question is right or wrong. But it really is hundreds of hours course.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's impressive. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Right. So
yeah, it's not going into practical into Python or Scala or anything else. Just theory.
Yeah, mathematical theory behind it. Yeah, exactly. There was a good post. I'll share this with you guys. Somebody was saying, should we write when you learn machine learning, should you learn theory first or learn by practice? So we sort of did that later, right? We learn by practice, right? So we sort of learn like how to use the algorithm and how to tweak the algorithm. That's what we learned. But if you're really curious how the algorithm is actually working, right? That's when kind of what it is talking about is like the theory behind the algorithms, right? Yeah. So I'm definitely I mean if you have time, it's a good thing to kind of get some knowledge on this one as well. Yeah. Right. So this is more of internals, right? How the algorithm is doing the way it's doing, things like that. Yeah. So good, guys. So let me say my goodbyes. So again, thank you so much, guys. We'll meet again in a month or so, right? So again, think about your next steps, and then we'll stay in touch with Slack, and then we'll talk some more next month. But again, I really thank you guys for sticking with the program. Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sujin.